Box to Box NBA Preview, hosted by Ndegz.
Welcome to my 2023-24 NBA season preview, and today we are going to talk about number 28, and that is the Charlotte Hornets. Before I start, guys, we have our box-to-box community where we talk everything sports. In particular, we have a group that's just catered to basketball and NBA. Link will be in the description below. And yeah, that's us. And this is the Hornets 2023 season that just ended. They finished with a 27-55 record, fourth worst in the NBA. Things just went downhill when what happened in Miles Bridges happened, right? The domestic violence and all that stuff, right? So that really derailed their season, and they showed that they couldn't really recover. Then, obviously, in February, LaMelo fractured his ankle. Then the team was just in full, the team was just dead, right? They had the fourth worst offense, 111 points per game, 25.1 assists per game, came in 17th, and they were 29th in three-point shooting. So a lot to improve on with this team. And let's see what the team has done in terms of roster changes. Yeah, in terms of moves, the Hornets obviously got Frank Ntilikina. PJ Washington resigned as well, contract extension. Then Leaky Black and Amari Bailey. Amari Bailey, I think they picked up as a draft pick, if I'm not wrong. Then LaMelo extended as well, and Miles Bridges extended a one-year deal with the Hornets. People that have lost, I think the most important loss to this team was Michael Jordan selling the team and no longer being part of the franchise after quite a number of years. Then Theo Maledon, then Shai Mikhailuk, who became a free agent. Kelly Oubre Jr., Dennis Smith finish up the players that they lost this offseason. Looking at the people they've drafted, they had 4 draft picks. The number 2 pick, number 27, 31, and 41. Brandon Miller in second place, which was a bit of a shock because we all thought that they were going to go for Scoot Henderson, who everyone thought was the second best player in the draft after Wembanyama. He's a versatile, sharp-shooting wing. He'd be great next to LaMelo. They ended up going with Brandon Miller. 27th, they went with Nick Smith Jr., who was a former top prospect. I think this is a sneaky, solid draft pick. He really dropped because of his knee issues in the draft rankings. And then they got James Nagy, big man from Barcelona, and Amari Bailey, a two-way guard. Players on expiring contracts with a lot to prove this season. In probably one of the biggest ones would be Gordon Hayward, 31.5 mil. Last year of his massive contract that he signed, I think 4 years ago now. Then Miles Bridges was signed to a 1-year, 8 mil contract as well. Kai Jones is on a team option, 3 million. And Frank Ntilikina as well, who was signed on a 1-year deal. Then, as somewhat of an expiring contract is their coach, Steve Clifford, who signed a 3-year deal, and that year was a team option. This is his second year, so he's on something of a contract here as well. So he does well, probably get a contract extension, or definitely they pick up his team option. But if he has a less than average campaign, then he's also someone who they can get rid of. And those are some of the roster moves that they have done this offseason. Looking at their rotation, this is who we expect them to start. LaMelo Ball, who is back. Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, T-Row. And then Gordon Hayward in small forward. PJ Washington, who was arguably one of their best players, played the most minutes out of any starters last year. And Mark Williams. On the bench, standout names, obviously, the likes of Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, obviously, their number 2 pick, who might actually be getting a lot of playing time. If anything is to go by in terms of history, the likes of Gordon Hayward misses a lot of games, so it's a chance to you might as well give your top draft pick time and minutes to play, right? Then obviously Ntilikina and Miles Bridges coming off the bench. Some of the standout names of the bench, the rest are just guys. The big question with the Charlotte Hornets is, can they get some consistency? And this consistency is a key word for the entire franchise going around, right? Can they get consistency from the top people in terms of management? Can they get consistency from their point guard, from their small forward, from their shooting guard? Like, they just need consistency everywhere. LaMelo Ball was a double-double machine when he was on the court. Obviously, injury came into play for him. Wasn't in his hands, but can he be on the floor consistently, you know? Terry Rozier was hitting from beyond the arc. Can he keep scoring from the arc consistently? PJ Washington had multiple 30-plus games. Obviously, he signed a 3-year, $48 million extension, as we just said earlier. He averaged 4.9 rebounds a game for someone with his ability and size. That number should definitely go up. So can we actually get consistency from him off the glass? Then just them as a team, can they just maintain consistent defensive pressure, right? Like, you're just trying to, as a team, as a coach, all you can ask for is just give effort consistently. There were games in which last year where they'd be in the game within the second, third quarter, and then it'd be like a 3-4 point game, and with 5 minutes to go, they're 20 points down. You know, like, they would just let go of the reins, and teams would just blow them out in the third, fourth quarter. So opponent points in the first half as well was something of an issue for them. They were really conceding points like crazy in the first half. They let games get out of control, as I just said earlier. And yeah, that's for me, consistency all around. And also, just to add to that, can LaMelo evolve as a player, as a creator, as a playmaker? He's already so good as a floor general. So can he evolve to the next step? So those are just some of the big things that I'm trying to see from the Charlotte Hornets this year. Prediction for they're not really mine, but yeah, the Charlotte Hornets. I think the lowest they can finish is 13th. They have way more talent than the teams we've talked about. That is the Wizards and the Pistons, which is weird, actually. This is the third team we're speaking of from the East, and we're at number 28. The East is quite weak. Like, it's top heavy, and then it's just there. The highest for them, I think the peak for them, in my opinion, would be 10th in the East, and that would put them in the play-in tournament. One thing they can't afford is any form of dysfunction. We saw when injuries came through, or when the Miles Bridges thing happened, like, it just could derail their season after, you know. Miles Bridges is already suspended, I think, for the first 10 games, if I'm not wrong. I think so. But yeah, when he comes back, he literally just has to stake his place, because when he played, he really, like, their ceiling was just slightly higher, you know. He made them take, so them losing him, it was a big blow, and they didn't recover. So they really can't afford any form of dysfunction, you know. So yeah, that is what I'm predicting the Charlotte Hornets to go. When their shot doesn't drop, can their defense keep them in games? As I said earlier, there are moments in which they would just let games get out of control, and then they just concede points in bunches, you know, and not being able to stop anyone. So with that, with their defense being a big question mark, injuries being a big question mark, consistency being the big question about them, I still see their peak being at 10th place in the East, which just puts them in the play-in tournament, and probably a basement of like 13th in the East, because I believe they cannot be any worse than the Pistons or the Wizards. And yeah, that is the Charlotte Hornets, number 28 in my rankings of the 2023 NBA season.
Ready for the ultimate slam dunk of content? Don't miss out on any of our NBA previews. Hit subscribe and be the MVP of your basketball knowledge game.